Joining us is retired Colonel Miri Eisin, Director of the International Institute for Counter-Terrorism at Reichman University. Hi, Miri.
Hello, Sivan.
Now, rocket fire resumed this morning towards southern Israel, but we see that the number of barrages towards Israel generally dropped. Does this mean, do you think, that Hamas is facing a limited ability to fire rockets now?
Well, some of it just has to do with numbers. We've always said that Hamas has probably 15 to 20,000 rockets. And as far as we can count until now, I'd say that they fired probably even 10,000. We do realize that there are hundreds, if not thousands, that have been fired towards Israel and have fallen in the Gaza Strip. So, Sivan, that means they still have capability. But we have dissected the Gaza Strip physically, in military senses, into two areas, to the north and to the south. And they have pretty much lost their capacity to really fire from the northern Gaza Strip because we are right there and can see immediately and immediately target when we are so close, even in the urban area. They're continuing to fire out of the southern Gaza Strip, which means that, yes, they still have the capacity, much more limited. I breathe in deep because I don't want anybody to think that because of this, we should be safer now. Hamas want to show that they can continue in their terms to fire the rockets, to give battle. They right now want to present themselves as if they are the ones who are battling and winning. So they have an interest to continue to fire. So we really need to be careful at this stage.
Now we're seeing live images from Gaza as you speak. If they're firing rockets from the southern area, then that means they are indefinitely firing from within the civilian population. Is that right?
Over the last few days, the IDF has been exposing, because we are now in the Gaza Strip, these are things that we've spoken about both here on i24news, but over the last decade, that Hamas build the different firing capabilities out of mosques, out of schools, out of kindergartens. And over the last few days, it's a war. It doesn't look the way you expect. The kindergarten doesn't look like a kindergarten anymore. It's the area within the mosque, but we've been showing the different launching locations from the kindergarten, from the school, from the mosque. So that's things that we're getting to, and it will continue to be. As I say, they've built this over a decade. It's still there with a lot of capabilities.
Now, Netanyahu said in an ABC interview that Israel will have to be responsible for the security in Gaza in the future. Is this a realistic goal, do you think?
In its own way, Sivan, and I say very harshly for me as an Israeli, is there any other realistic goal? We right now are not conquering all of the Gaza Strip. We are trying to get to the Hamas terrorists and our hostages in a variety of ways. There are 2.3 million people there. Hamas has ruled over the Gaza Strip from 2007, and look at what they have done. There is nobody else in the world who wants to step in right now. And until there is a viable, local, Palestinian-grown type of leadership that does not call and actively act to annihilate Israel, to attack Israel, then it's going to be Israel's responsibility. I really don't see us having another choice. I don't know what that means. I need to be very clear. I don't know if that means that we're ruling all over the territory. It's very hard to say at this stage, but this is the first time Netanyahu has said something at the sort, and we need to take it into account as Israelis. It may be the only of the bad choices, the only bad choice we can take.
Miri Eisin, thank you for your input. Please stay with us. We will be back to you. Joining us on Israel's northern border is our i24 News correspondent, Zach Anders. Zach, Hamas Lebanon took responsibility for a barrage of rockets which hit northern Israel last night, with rockets reaching as far as the city of Haifa for the first time since the Lebanon War. What can you tell us about Hamas's involvement in the north?
Well, that strike reaching about 20-plus miles from the northern border is significant. Like you said, first time since the 2006 war, the rocket has reached this deep. The IDF late last night says that they did strike targets inside Lebanon. that were related to the launch of these rockets. We have also been hearing outgoing artillery fire from our position. That was quite heavy last night as well, and they said that that was a combination of strikes with air strikes and artillery. They did not confirm if they had continued ground operations as well. Now, this is coming on the heels of over a dozen fatalities that Hezbollah itself is reporting in the month of November in these continued skirmishes, you could call it, on the northern border. These bordering on full-scale engagements with Hezbollah and Hamas inside the northern territories. But again, the IDF is telling us at this hour they did strike. They did strike those locations last night related to the launch.
And what's the situation on the ground? What are the instructions? We know that yesterday citizens were instructed to take shelter and to keep indoors. What's the situation today?
Well, and that is part of the last few days of hostilities here. And one of the concerns is that Hezbollah is attempting to, they say, enact some retribution for civilians that were killed in Lebanon. They say they want to, they plan to create the same level, inflict the same level that if a civilian dies in the north in Lebanon, that they will do the same to Israeli citizens here on the other side of the border, the northern border here. The call right now is to evacuate. The continued call to evacuate has been in place, but the Ministry of Tourism is offering more long-term permanent solutions for people that need to be relocated in the south. They haven't given a timeline for how long that could be. In some communities, they're asking people to lock their doors and to secure their property. Overall, just a very tense situation here.
Zach Anders, thank you very much.